This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so in general, when it comes to Microsoft Azure, okay, so we have lots of varieties to manage Microsoft Azure platform. So we will try to explore some of those options. Okay, so when it comes to Azure management, the regular routine tasks that we do as a developer, as an administrator, or as a DevOps engineer, we can manage Azure platform via variety of tools. Okay, the very basic option for the administrator, we generally work on Azure portal, which is the graphical user interface. This is the graphical console, right? We go and access portal.azure.com, and then we go and create resources and manage it. But when it comes to automation or scripting, or if you want to simplify the task, or if you want to emphasize towards automation, then we have command line option like Azure PowerShell, which is the most preferred one, and we have got Azure command line tool, CLI tool, and we have got Azure Cloudshell. So these are the different options, 4 different options that we can use. Even Microsoft has given Azure mobile application. If you go to your App Store or Play Store in your mobile, they also provide you Azure application. So you can install that Azure application on your mobile, and you can manage all the Microsoft Azure provided platform services products from your mobile itself. If you want to restart your VM, or if you want to create or modify something on your storage account or whatever, you can do everything from your mobile application. Also, they provide you Azure desktop application, which you can install on your machine. And this particular tool helps you to manage, it doesn't need any browser. Okay, you can directly use the Microsoft application like your VA client or vSphere client earlier. They provide you a desktop application. So we have these many wide range of options that are available for the administrator to manage the Azure platform. Mostly like when we start our learning curve with Microsoft Azure platform, we generally use the first option, right? The preferred option, which is the Azure portal. So now, if we are a developer, okay, so we have a wide range of options. See, you got, let me show you that. So you have a wide range of tools that we can use here. So you've got Python, we have got Java, we have got .NET, Go. So these are all the 4 popular programming languages that we can use to connect to Microsoft Azure, and not these 4 alone. We also have the REST API, through which you can integrate any third-party tools, and you can use the REST API also to connect your application. So the 5 popular programming languages that you can develop your application to connect or to work with Microsoft Azure. If you are a developer, if you are writing code, then mostly like we will be writing in this 5 different languages. These are the top popular languages. But yeah, so Java, JavaScript, Python, .NET, and then Go language. And they also provide you REST API, through which we can connect and manage. You can also install some third-party tools. If you remember during the storage class, or during some of the topics, we also integrated Visual Studio. We also used Storage Explorer tool. We also had a lot of other third-party tools through which we are able to manage Azure-related services. Right? You can also use third-party tools or API to manage the Azure platform. But if we are part of the DevOps team or the SRE team, you have little more extra options here. You can see the DevOps principle, the very basic principle. It says like we need to deploy the Azure any platform, any infrastructure using code. Okay, infrastructure as a code mechanism. So when it comes to infrastructure as code, generally we have been using ARM templates for a very long time. Okay, so ARM templates was the method which is again you can have it in JSON format, or you can also have it in YAML format to create the resources in a declarative way. In a declarative way, in the sense your infrastructure can be created with the programming mindset, with the application development mindset. So if you're a DevOps, if you're part of the DevOps team, generally we deploy resources using infrastructure as a code. And Microsoft has their own proprietary tool called Bicep, which is a competitor for the JSON language. So this is the Microsoft proprietary declarative method. Okay, you can go and write your infrastructure in a code, and then you can create it. So infrastructure as a code. So you got two main options, and here you can also use third-party tools like Terraform, or you can also use tools like Pulumi and all those things. So these are all again coming under the infrastructure as a code category. Okay, now besides that, if you are already part of the team who already has CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration and continuous deployment or delivery configured, then we might be using CI/CD tools like Jenkins or GitLab or Bitbucket, or those CI/CD tool sets will be used for checking in your code and deploying the resources using Jenkins format. Okay, so if you look at here, these are the different areas that has been highlighted: Terraform, Jenkins, ARM templates, and so on. So now our focus today is mainly on the Azure administrator role, where we will get to understand the different options here. Okay, Azure PowerShell, Azure CLI, Azure Cloudshell, and then Azure mobile app. So these are the options which we are predominantly going to discuss today and get to understand the options behind this. And when we learn Azure DevOps, we will also learn these categories, the templates. I mean, I will also explain the ARM templates today, and I'll also try and cover Bicep today if possible. So we will be covering ARM templates, but if you want to learn Terraform, I have a separate course for that, okay, on how to create or manage Azure resources using Terraform. And similarly, if you want to understand too much deep into details of PowerShell, we also have a separate 40 hours training session on PowerShell alone. Okay, but here we have three different set of people who always work with any platform, and for each of them we have wide variety of options to go and create and manage our Azure platform. Okay, now see why we need to get into all these command line or scripting or those methods. Scripts, templates, and all these things are efficient enough to create your resources quickly, and you can also create the same resources. For example, if you are using the infrastructure as a code for creating one machine, and if you are using the same code for creating the other machine, the configuration, the settings, everything will be exactly same. But if you are creating manually using the graphical console, people are prone to errors, right? So the human errors are definitely, chances are there. So they will choose the wrong option. They will choose something which is against the security policy, or they might choose some wide open network ports or whatever. So there will be mistakes happening in manual creation. So that's why, so we need to understand the Azure CLI, Azure PowerShell, and all these things, because at the end, the scripts, the commands will be, even though you use any third-party tools, we need to use any of these Azure CLI or Azure PowerShell to automate the things, to make the scripting easy. Okay, so your daily jobs, day-to-day activities like querying the data or scheduling or doing some activities, with automation you can complete the work very quickly and efficiently. Okay, so this is all needed. You need to have these knowledge with emphasis towards automation. Okay, so I'll help you with understanding these different tool sets. Okay, so the most popular tool set currently, I would say it is Azure Cloudshell. So we'll start with Azure Cloudshell, and then we'll move on to learn Azure CLI, ARM templates, and all those stuff. Okay, let's start with Cloudshell, and then let's explore Azure CLI, and we will learn Azure PowerShell, and we will learn the ARM templates, the infrastructure as a code. Okay, now let's start with Azure Cloudshell as an option. See why Cloudshell is very popular. See, we don't have to install any separate machine, or we don't have to have a separate system like this to install your Azure CLI, or you don't need your own local desktop to install the tool. So Azure Cloud Shell is a browser-based interactive shell. Okay, and that too, it provides you two different options. You can either work on, if you are familiar with Windows command line, you can use, sorry, if you are familiar with PowerShell, you can use the Windows PowerShell option, or if you are familiar with Linux-based commands, then you can use the Bash shell. So you get both the options available there. I'll show you how to use that. It's a browser-based interactive shell. When I say browser, your web browser. Okay, it can be your Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or any tool. Okay, you can access this particular cloud shell virtually from anywhere. Okay, and again, it is a embedded terminal within your Azure portal. That is the most important thing, and you can virtually access this tool from anywhere. Okay, you can open your mobile and connect it, or you can access it from your desktop or laptop or any location. So I'll show you how to do access it. So if you go to your portal, generally we use portal.azure.com to manage the Microsoft management portal, right? But if you want to access the shell, you can just type shell.azure.com, and that will take you to the cloud shell here. See, automatically it is taking me to the cloud shell option here, and I'm logging into the Cloudshell portal. So you can select the subscription and you can create the storage. See, if you are working in the Cloudshell, they are providing you a virtual machine for free of cost. But whatever script you are creating or whatever content you are writing, that should be persistent, right? You need to have access to those scripts or content when you get reconnected to the system. So the virtual machine or the container that gets created when you launch the Cloud Shell, that is for free. It is not a full-blown VM. They will create a Ubuntu container or a kind of temporary container for running your commands or storing your files and so on. But since the container is temporary, they are giving you a storage account to store whatever contents you are creating. So we need to create a storage account here, or you can also go and use the existing storage account. For example, here you have the option to select the existing storage account here. If you already have a storage account, then you can select it, but it looks like there is no storage account in my account. Also, you can use the existing file share. Okay, so you have the option to either create everything completely new, or you can use the existing storage account and file share. So all your scripts that you create will be stored in this file share. You can access those file whenever you need it. Okay, so that's the another interesting thing with this Cloud Shell. With Cloud Shell, you don't have to really pay for the container that gets created. So when you go and launch this Cloud Shell, it automatically creates a container. Container is nothing but a small system, right? Or a very, it's a mini VM, or it's a micro VM, I would say. So this container is nothing but a compute resource it provides. You get a container where you have the shell pre-installed, or you get a temporary VM, and you can connect and manage it. So there is no cost for your VM. Okay, this VM, temporary VM, is free of cost. And when you get something for free of cost, automatically you need to understand that if something goes wrong or if something is not working properly, there is no SLA for that. So when something is free, then don't talk about service level agreement, availability, and all those things. So now why we are using this Cloud Shell to automate things. When you want to automate things, we need to create scripts, we need to create run some commands and store them, right? And you need a storage account to store those files, or for file persistence, or like for permanent storing of files, you need to have this. So whatever working data, whatever you are whatever activity you are doing, all those tasks will be stored here. Okay, so now let's go and create it. So I'll go and create the storage account. So here I'll select the create new and create new file share. So I can give some name. Okay, for example, I'll say Cloud Shell storage account. This is not mandatory. It will create an automatic storage account for you. And similarly, if I want to create some file share, I can say Cloud Shell file share 01. Now this will go and create a storage account and a file share in central India location. If you want to change the Cloudshell region, you can go and change it now. But I'm just going to create it with central India, and it is creating it now. So there are two ways to access it. You can either type shell.azure.com to access it, or you can type portal.azure.com/cloudshell. Both options will work. Or else what you can do is you can also, so okay, it says storage creation field, it says like this account, this name is already used. Okay, so in general, whatever storage account we are creating, it has to be unique across all the customer environment, because storage account are accessible via the internet, right? So we need to have a unique name for that. I'll just say 001. Okay, the message is very clear there. Okay, and it is showing you what exact error you are getting. So it says storage account name has already been taken. You need to give a different name, unique name, to have this created. It is creating now. So you can access it using this link, or you can also go and click on this option. Next to your search option here, you have this Cloudshell link. If you click on this Cloudshell, it will open up a parallel session. You can work on the graphical console as well as you can work on the command line console. Let this get launched. Okay, it is creating here. So if I go and click on this now, see, it will open up a Cloudshell at the bottom of the window. Okay, you can also make it full screen if you want. For example, if you want to work full screen on the Cloudshell, you can also make it maximize it, or you can minimize it using the options here. Okay, so you can work graphically. You can also run some commands and then check the activity log or events in parallel. So you can work simultaneously, or you can also work completely on your shell prompt by selecting these options. Even if you scroll down, you will get the screen here. Okay, it's exactly the same. Okay, these are two ways of managing stuffs. So now let's go and try and create something from the Cloudshell. So the biggest advantage of the Cloudshell, we don't have to install any tools. When I say in any tools, all the tools that we generally need to manage your environment, like your Ansible or Terraform or .NET or Python or Kubernetes, kubectl, Chef, Puppet, all these tools are pre-installed in this container. All these tools are pre-installed in this Cloud Shell. I'll show you that. See, if I go and kind of check Python FN version, see, it's already pre-installed. Python is already pre-installed. If I check Azure version, that is also Azure CLI is also pre-installed here. So most of the tools are installed by default. You don't have to really install anything on this container. This container is a image template that is already having most of the tools that we need to manage your Azure platform. Even the Azure PowerShell module will be pre-installed here. Okay, I'll show you that. Okay, but before that, the advantage of using Cloud Shell, it is a browser-based interactive shell, and you have all the tools that you use as an administrator or as a DevOps engineer. We generally work on Terraform, we work on Ansible, we work on JIT, we work with .NET SDK, Python, kubectl for Kubernetes control management, Chef, Puppet. All these tools are pre-installed. You don't have to really install anything. Even some of the tools which you use for copying the content, like Azure Copy or Azure PowerShell modules, all these are again pre-installed on that container. So and again, the container image is maintained by Microsoft, so they maintain it with all the latest security patches, bug fixes, and all those things. So you really don't need to worry about the container image, because it is directly maintained by Microsoft. So Microsoft manages the container image, so it is updated with latest patches, bug fixes, and then version and all those things. Okay, and everything that you have installed is on the latest version again. Even if you are coming from a database background, or if you are coming from database engineer background, even those tools are also pre-installed here. If you look at here, if I go and type MySQL, or if I go and type See, the socket is there, but I just ran it. If you go and type SQL command, so all these tools are already pre-installed. So you really don't have to worry about it. So even database clients are pre-installed, like your MySQL client or your SQL command line tool or your MySQL scripter tool. All these are pre-installed, so you can manage both your Microsoft native SQL platform as well as non-Microsoft SQL platform. So here there are certain things that you need to be aware of. So this session, whatever you are using, right? So you can switch between PowerShell and Bash Shell. Currently you are in Bash prompt, so you need to use the Linux command. But if you are switching to PowerShell, you can start using the um, PowerShell commandlets. Okay, so you have the option to switch between these two options. Okay, you have two different prompts. Bash prompt, this is mainly for the Linux administrators who are familiar with Linux, and for the people who are familiar with Windows, Microsoft, they use PowerShell prompt. You can switch between these two prompts very quickly. Within a couple of seconds, it will switch the terminal, and you will get a PowerShell command line prompt, or you get the Bash shell. See, now it has switched to my PowerShell prompt. And if I look at here, I am into a particular location. I can, I mean, the biggest or interesting thing with PowerShell or Bash shell, whatever commands, the basic Linux commands, right? The ls or I can also use the change directory command. I can just go and create a command stan folder one. I can work like the same way like I am working on my Windows or Linux. Both the commands will work. Okay, both the Linux command as well as the Windows command can work here. For example, if I want to create some file, I can just say cat stan file one. So I mean, it doesn't have anything, but I can just go and use the manual, or you have a lot of options to play around. Okay, clear command will work, cls command will work. So both Linux and the Windows file system command can coexist. It can be used in parallel, so you don't have to really memorize Linux commands or Windows command. Whichever you are already familiar with, you can start using that based on your prior experience. And on a high level, this bash prompt is developed using this has been there in the industry from 1980s, right, or late 1980. You have this bash shell or born again shell. When Linux was found from Unix uses bone shell. Okay, this one is born again shell actually. Okay, so this is born again shell. So bash shell is there since 1989, and this was developed using C programming. Okay, in C programming we generally use strings, whereas in the latest PowerShell, okay, in PowerShell prompt, PowerShell is developed on the back end using C sharp and your .NET framework. So this supports everything as an object. Everything that you create in PowerShell is considered as an object, whereas when you create something on Bash shell, it is considered as a string. So PowerShell, it came into existence somewhere around 2005, 2006 time, where it got added into your Microsoft Windows operating system, and this is predominantly on your Microsoft Windows OS. Okay, but now you have a different ball game altogether. I'll explain what exactly we have from Azure PowerShell. We'll have a deeper discussion on PowerShell shortly, but now on a very high level, the Cloudshell, it helps you to use all the tool sets, even see if you are a DevOps engineer, if you are a build engineer, so you might be using tools like Maven or Make to create a package, and in order to create a Python package, or like npm or pip, these kind of commands will also work. So these are all build tools, right? When you want to build a package for your application, generally we have to use these tools. So for building your packages, or all these build tools are also pre-installed. So see, if you're an administrator, DevOps engineer, developer, you don't have to really install any separate tools. Every single tool comes pre-installed on this Cloudshell. So this Cloudshell, you have to be actively using it, or if you are not using it for continuously 20 minutes, then the shell will get inactive and you'll have to the backend container will get terminated and you have to re-log in again and work on it. So Cloudshell becomes, or like Cloudshell, it terminates, only the compute will get terminate. The backend storage file share, it will be existing there. So terminates after 20 minutes of inactivity. So if you're not doing anything on that particular shell without executing some command or whatever, you have to, I mean, it will get terminated. And you get a cloud shell on a temporary host on a per session per user basis. Okay, it will not be shared actually. This particular cloud shell, whatever is you are getting, it is a per user per session basis. You get this separately individually for you, and you have this created. So let's go and look at whether the storage account got created or whether that file share is available. I can go to storage account. I can see that Cloud Shell storage account 1 has got created, and within that there will be a file share where our executions will be stored. See, by default it creates a 6 GB quota for the file share. Okay, and within that you have a Ubuntu container that gets launched, which is 5 GB in size. So if you go inside this, you can see a system or a container image that has got 5 GB content. Okay, let me go inside this. You can see a 5 GB container image .img file. So by default, the file share comes with the quota off, because if you are continuously doing something or if you are executing scripts, there are chances that it will create a lot of log files, or continuous execution might create a lot of files and you will end up paying money for money on the customer account. So in order to avoid that, Microsoft creates a file share with 6 GB quota limit, and then the internal image is actually 5 GB. The image file or the Ubuntu container image, it is 5 GB, and within that you will be storing all the content. So you can see that evidently here. Okay, so this is a 5 GB image, and you also have the 6 GB quota that has been set here. So you can also go and change the capacity if you want to. You can change it to 100 terabyte, or if you want to have maximum file share capacity, you can change this. But here the quota is configured. If you click on this option, you can edit the quota and you can increase it. If I want to increase it to 10 GB or 20 GB or 100 GB, you can go and set to maximum also if you want to increase the quota. But it is not a recommended practice, because when you are going and automating things, or if you are doing some scheduling activities, or if you are creating some scripts, it will create a lot of log files and it will quickly hold the contents in your file share. So it automatically will increase the content, and you have to be very careful here. So that's the, I mean, it's a good practice to leave the quota as such, and if there is some size issue, or if it is getting full, you can go and do the cleanup as you want. Okay, now with Azure Cloud Shell, you can create resources using your Azure CLI, or you can also create resources using your Azure PowerShell. So I'll try to explain some of these command, and then we'll come back here. So let me open up the PowerShell, Cloud Shell. So here, as I told you, the Azure command line is pre-installed. Okay, you can see the Azure CLI is already pre-installed. So any command that you work when you are working with Azure CLI, every command will start with AZ. Okay, AZ. Okay, let me explain that. See, Azure CLI is also very popular. The reason it is popular, Azure CLI is a cross-platform CLI. You can install it on your Windows machine or your MacBook, or you can install it on your Linux system. So Azure CLI, it comes in 3 variant. You can call it as a cross-platform command line tool, because you have options to install it on Windows, Linux, and Mac. And also you can install this Azure CLI on a Docker platform, also on a container platform also, that is also available. You can also install it on a Windows subsystem for Linux machine, or you can also install it on a Docker system. Okay, so where exactly we will get all these tools? So if you go to Microsoft downloads screen, so if you just go and type um, Microsoft or like downloads dot Microsoft .com/software, like, or else you can just say downloads here, Microsoft.com/downloads. Just a second, think somewhere downloads.microsoft.com should also work, or else you can just type azure.microsoft.com/downloads. I think this is the correct screen. Okay, so here you can go and download all the SDK. If you're a programmer, you can go and programmatically manage and interact with Azure services using these SDKs. I told you, right? .NET, Java, JavaScript, Python, Go. These are the popular languages, but you also have C++, C, Android, and iOS option where you can also manage it from your mobile itself. So this is for the developers. The SDKs or the software development kit is mainly for the developers to use the libraries to manage the Azure platform. But we as an administrator, we use the Azure tools to manage and interact with Azure services. So when you say tools, these are the options we have. So today we are covering Azure CLI and Azure PowerShell. So if you want to download and install Azure CLI, you can just go and click on this install option. This will give you the screen where you can go and install it on any platform, Windows, Mac, Linux, Docker, and also you can run it within your Cloudshell also. So the current version is 2.44. This is the current latest version that we have got. And Azure CLI, we used to have two different options. I think the Azure CLI version 1 is it's already deprecated. We don't have that option anymore. When Microsoft launched this command line tool, we had Azure CLI version 1, sorry, version 1, and this version 1 was developed using node.js. Okay, and also it was created when the old management model, Azure service management model, was available, and even it was working even after Microsoft introduced Microsoft Azure resource manager module. So it works on both the platform, but this is no more available. It is already deprecated, and we cannot use this. This was developed using node.js. This is not that effective language to work on a command line. So what we have now is Azure CLI version 2. This is developed using Python, and it works only on ARM platform, the Azure Resource Manager platform, which is the current platform that we use. So the current version is 2.44.1. This is the version 2. Okay, so we had version 1 that is no more available. It is already deprecated. So if you want to manage Microsoft Azure services from command line, we have to use the latest version 2. Okay, now we can just go and download the tool and then install it. So how do I do that? I can just copy the link. Okay, I can install it on MacBook, or I have these many Linux options to install it. Even I can run it on a Windows subsystem for Linux. If you are having a Linux machine, sorry, Windows machine, and if you have some Ubuntu container in your system, you can also run this thing. Okay, so you also have the Docker container, Cloud Shell, and all those things. Now let's go and install it on my Windows machine. I'll go to this machine and then I'll open up the browser to download it. So on the Chrome browser, sorry, Edge browser, I'll go and download the tool here. So it says which one you want to download. I'll go and download the latest release. I can just open it here. There are three ways of installing your tool in Microsoft now. So you have the MSI installer, and you can directly run it from your command prompt, or you can also run it using the Windows Get, which is the Windows Microsoft Package Manager tool. Okay, this is very popular nowadays. So if you want to install any tools like Azure CLI or anything, you can also install using this Windows Get tool, which is a proprietary package manager tool from Microsoft. So you can install Azure CLI using Windows Get, or you can also use the graphical GUI to download and install, or you can also use the command prompt or the PowerShell to download and install it. Okay, so we have three options all the time. So now we have downloaded it using the Microsoft installer package, which is the graphical option. So when you're installing it in a graphical option, you get a MSI file. MSI stands for Microsoft Standard Installer or Microsoft Installer Package. So here you have two words, right? Microsoft Installer MSI file. So this is the package. Earlier we used to have exe, right? Now it comes in .msi format. We have downloaded it here. Let's go and install it. Okay, so I'll just open this. So before installing it, I'm going to show you that this is not yet installed on my machine. So if I go and say AZ version hyphen version, I will not get any output because it is not installed. You can run the Azure CLI command from your, oh, okay, we installed it now. Okay, so I think this is already installed, but this is 2.43, but what we have got here, 2.44, right? We'll upgrade it. Okay, so you can also it says it here, right? If you look at the option, it has, you have got two updates available, and you can also go and use the upgrade command. So you can also use the AZ upgrade to upgrade from lower version to higher version. Okay, so you can also use the AZ upgrade command to upgrade from older version to newer version 2.44. So I'll just install this package now. Okay, let's go and install it. So it's a pretty straightforward installation. Okay, you can just directly go and install it. It will go and check whether you have the enough capacity, the enough permissions, and then it will start installing it. Okay, let me close this command prompt so that, or else like I can open up a new command prompt to check the version once after it is upgraded. So by default, it will go and validate if there is any existing installation. So it is validating it. If it finds something, it will go and upgrade it with our permission. Okay, it is generating the script, it is copying the new binary files, and it is trying to install. So you can also download it from this GitHub location. So if you go to this particular folder, also you have the, you can go and download the old version also. If you want to download the specific version, you can just go to this particular path. Then you can look at the release notes, and you can download whichever package you want. Okay, so let's give it a minute. So by default, if you're using some proxy server, or if you're using some organization proxy, then your organization have to allow these two locations, because we are downloading the file from this particular link, and also you get a lot of help content from this aka.ms. So you need to, your organization have to allow these sites on your proxy system, or any internet firewall system. Okay, now let's go and install it. Okay, see this option, you will get older versions also. You can just go and install any older version that you want. For example, if you are using some tools, for an example, if you are using some VMSs or some specific version, some older product or services, then you can install the specific version that supports that specific product and old commands. So Microsoft upgrades a lot of things, and sometimes they will add new commands or new product to the Azure CLI, or sometimes they will also remove or deprecate some of the older commands or older product. So based on the newer version, newer release, you can use whichever is required for your organization. Now, let me go and check whether the installation is complete. Okay, it is completed. Now I'll finish it. Now again, I'll open up the command prompt to verify whether I've got the latest version 2.44. See, I've got the 2.44.1, and also there is no warning here that there is no new version or whatever. When we ran it last time, it told us we have got two new versions. So because we were in 2.43, and here, see, in any particular tool, you'll have a major version which is 1, 2 like this, and you'll have a minor version, and this is the build release version .1. So here you can see that there are two updates available. So we had 44.1, and we have upgraded to that. So you can close this old uh, data. Okay, now you have the latest Azure command line tool installed on your machine, and if you want to log in and create resources on a particular subscription or a particular Azure account, you have to type AZ login. Okay, it will automatically take us to a login console, and it will ask us for the credential. So you can just directly go and enter your credential here, and you can minimize it. Okay, so it will say you have logged in successfully, and you can start working on it. See, it is showing my account, and then what kind of subscription I've got. So all these details are now available. So you can see that it is showing my subscription, and it is also showing my details here, the MSDN platform and all those stuff. So now let's go and play around with that. Okay, now you can install it on any platform, and after which you have a lot of commands. You don't have to memorize anything. Okay, see the basic structure of this command. Every command will start with AZ. Okay, and then you have to type the service name. For example, storage account or network or something like that. See, you have to type network, or you have to type storage account. So whatever resource you want to work, you can enter that AZ space virtual machine or key vault or SQL server or web app or whatever. Okay, so for the very first command, it starts with AZ, and the second area, it talks about the Microsoft Azure service or product, the resource type. We have to enter the resource type here. So you can enter AZ web app, AZ SQL server, AZ Cosmos DB, and so on. So now, and after we enter these two things, then comes the global argument. You can use the actions after that. So here you will have the action. When I say action, you can create, delete, you can modify, and whatever you want to do, you can do it. For example, I'll just form a single command here. So I want to create a storage account. For an example, I'll just say Azure storage account, and here we have got a storage account created, right? So let me show you that. I'll close this. So I'll copy this name. Okay, we'll create without conflict. I'll give it a name, create hyphen name, and I'll say 002. Or else I can just say Stan storage account 2 instead of Cloudshell storage account. This is the name of the storage account. I can just give it -n, or I can give hyphen name. You can use both the switches or argument. Okay. Now I think if I enter this command, it will look for little more information. See, how generally, like when we go and create a Azure storage account in the graphical window, it asks certain mandatory things, right? It asks for the subscription, it asks for the resource group, and it asks for few other details. The storage account name, we have given the name. Now we also need to give, so whichever has got asterisk here, these are all mandatory stuff. The basics information are always mandatory, so we need to provide these mandatory stuff. See, for example, if something is selected by default, if you're not providing that parameter, automatically it will go and create it in the default option. Okay, so now if I want to change it, I can just change this. I can just go and say hyphen if I want to change the resource group name, I can give it a new resource group. So here it is selecting this one, Aravari RG2. I can also go and change it to stan-rg-01. So I can just mention stan-rg-01. This is my resource group where the Azure storage resource will get created. If I want to change the location, I can also go and change the location. Like currently it is East US. If I want to create it in West US, for an example, I just have to type West US. Okay, there is nothing much. And what are the other options here? So I can just go and select the SKU, or the redundancy type. So here it gives us these many options, right? If I want to create it as a LRS, I can just use the one which is inside the bracket. So I can just say SKU is standard LRS. Okay, now let's try to run this command and then see whether it is working or not. So I can just go and enter this. See, if you want to get the list of Azure storage account, you can also go and get the list here. But before that, we'll just go and run this. What happened? You don't have to memorize it. I'll tell you how to play around with this. just for now. I'll show you creating this, and then I'll show you how to play around with this tool. So it is creating now. There is no issues. So let me go to the properties, and I'll try to have a medium size screen. Font, cursor size font is here, 20. So it has created it. See, if you look at the output, it is telling me that it has created a standard LRS, it has created a standard tier. So whatever the options that is there in the graphical window, it has selected the standard tier, it has selected the LRS option here. I can just go one step back and I will be able to refresh here. I will be able to see the new one created. See, it has created in West US, it has created in resource group stand RG01, and it has created as a LRS local redundant storage category. So I can just go and check it here. See, it has created as a local redundant storage with standard performance. Okay, this is how you can create certain things. You can also create multiple resources with a few click or using a script. I'll help you with how to do that shortly. So now let's clear the screen, and then I'll help you how to, I mean, if you're stuck with this particular thing, for example, I know what to create now. For example, if I want to create a storage account, I can just type storage account, and after which, if you are not familiar with the switches or parameter, you can just simply say hyphen help or hyphen h. So this will show me the complete syntax. See, if you scroll to the bottom, it gives me the complete command. For example, these are all the options that are there: create, delete, list, and all those things. See, if I want to go and use, let's clear the screen. Now I know how to list the storage account. Instead of create, I can just type list. It will show me the two output. Okay, see, these are all, we are all getting it in a JSON format. These JSON format are very useful if you want to use this as a template to create resources. But if I want to view in an output, different output format, like a table separated value or a table format, I can also do that. So here, instead of just list, I can just say I want the output to be in a table separated value or in a table format. Okay, it will neatly give me the table formatted value. Okay, so you can see that there are two different storage accounts: stand storage account and Cloudshell storage account, that are there, and you can also see the details here. So if you want to change the format, you can change it. Like, there are several formats like this. You can get it in TSV format, or you can get it in table format. You also have JSON C format. You can also get it in YAML format also, I guess. If you want to create using Terraform or other tools, you can take this output and copy and paste in a YAML file, and you can create it in a declarative way. So in general, if you are stuck with working on Azure CLI, the very basic thing you have to use is Azure hyphen help. And then if you're stuck at a particular location for at a particular stage, for example, see, I have come closer here. For example, Azure storage account. So I have to create something. So I'll type create. If I don't know the complete syntax, then I can just type hyphen help here. And what it will do is it will give me a complete syntax, example syntax for this particular command. So now if I enter, it should give me an example. See, it gives me a simple example here. So I can just copy this, and then I can go and slightly modify and create the resource. It's that simple. Okay, you don't have to memorize anything. Okay, so you get very good help documentation, and you just need to change the names of the storage account and the resource group. See, instead of having it in a detailed argument, you can also use shortcut. For example, instead of hyphen name, you can just use hyphen n. Similarly, if you want, instead of using hyphen resource group, you can just say hyphen group. Instead of using hyphen location, you can use hyphen l. And similarly, you can use this. So now if I want to create one more storage account, I can just say 001, and then I can change this to stand RG-01. And if I want to create it in East US, I can just go and change it here. So nothing to memorize. Okay, so everything is available in the help document. So now you can just go and clear the screen and execute this. That simple it is. Okay, so Azure CLI, you need to, okay, it says they have already used that particular number. Okay, I'll just say 1001 and then create it. Okay, so yeah, it is creating. So you can also see how this got created and using which account and all those things in the activity log. So let me go one step back. So within a couple of seconds, you can start seeing the third one getting created. So even if you want to create a virtual machine, it's pretty straightforward. Clear the screen, go and type az vm create, and if you're stuck now, and what do you need to do? You can just say -h or -help. This will give me a complete syntax. So I can just copy the complete syntax here. So create a multiple VM or create a VM in a particular availability zone. Um, I can use any format here, like based on my requirement, I can just go and use one of them. Let's see. I can just go and search something on the top. Let me use create a Debian VM, create a CentOS. If you want to create a Ubuntu Linux or whatever, you can use this command. Okay, so let me copy one example. Okay, I'll just copy this example by attaching a managed disk. You don't need to do that. So you have many examples here. Let me pick up one of the basic examples. See, this is the basic command. Okay. So if you want to create a Windows, sorry, Ubuntu, Linux, or Windows, just you need to change the image name, Windows 2012 or Red Hat 7 or Ubuntu LTS. So you just need to change the image name here. So this is the command. So here I can just go and give some name. I can just say my VM101 and I can just give stan rg01 resource group and use Ubuntu image to create the VM. Just this is enough. And sometimes it will ask for the credential. Okay, and if you want to provide the credential, you can provide it. Let's see what it does. Okay, let's go and run this. Okay, it might ask for the username and password. Okay, it says there should be a key value pair, or you need to generate a SSH key. Okay, because like if you are creating a virtual machine, you need to log into that, right? So if you want to do that, then what you can do is you can either go with a stored credential procedure, or let's see. So I can just say Azure VM create hyphen help or -h. So you can use this switch, okay, hyphen generate switch, or you can also use the count number here so that it will create multiple virtual machines in parallel. So there should be an option to provide the username and password also. Okay, so let's see. See here they are using the secrets. You can go and store your secrets in this stored credential, or you can also type it directly. I can show you that. See, this is the one which you need to use. Hyphen generate SSH key. Or if you want to provide username and password, I'll show you the script, I mean the command here. So where is this? So it is image, create, public IP address is fine. Okay, let's go and do one thing. Let's go and check for options. How do we provide the username and credentials? If I go to the top, you should be able to look out for that options. So this is a very huge manual or a help file. See, it is asking for admin password. Okay, so this is how you have to give it. Let's try that. Now I'll copy this admin username. I can just copy this and then add it at the end. And then I can just say stan for the username, and then for the password, instead of typing it there, it will prompt us. If I add this argument, authentication argument or the switch, it will ask me the credential before it creates it. Now let's go and try that. Clear the screen, enter the command. Let's see. See, it says, it gives a very beautiful option. It says like you have to use some of these examples, whatever the method that we have used. It has it doesn't have the option to do that. So let's also copy this. See, it gives a clear documentation and you can do it. So don't memorize anything. So they give a very good help file. If the command is not available on your help file, you can just go and check out from here. Okay, see, for example, if I want to create a VM, you get the complete command syntax here. See, you can just see admin password, admin username, and all those things. But if you scroll down, you can also get some more help file, because this help file, when you are looking at from a black and white screen, you might not be very interested, right? But the same exact help file is here. Okay, so now if I want to create, so let me go and search for password, something like that. You can also use SSH key, but I want to use the password method. So they are saying it is an alternate option, but still these are all optional parameter, but these are all mandatory when you want to create a VM. So let's do one thing. Let's change the image to Microsoft and then try it. So instead of Ubuntu Linux, we will go and try. Okay, let's see the command here. Okay, those are all shutdown options. Okay, let me go and copy the command from here only. Okay, let me just go to that particular machine. And okay, so instead of Red Hat, I will use Windows Server and then check whether it gives the option to create. Because for Ubuntu, they are asking us to generate SSH key just like your AWS or other providers. Now let me change the OS type to Windows instead of Linux, and then let's try. Okay, I can just copy this, then I can paste it on my notepad. Okay, let's go and copy this, then change the image alone. You can use 2016 or 2022 or 20 whatever version you want, but this is for testing only, right? So let's go and execute it. Let's try. Okay, still you have this challenge, right? So it is asking me to go and assign the identity, which subscription we are creating and all those things. So now you get the another option called interactive option. I'll show you how to work on that. So if I go and type AZ interactive, let me clear the screen. So this will help you to learn Azure CLI in an interactive way. Okay, so now it is installing that interactive extension plugin. Okay, once after you install it, you will get a understanding on how to work with Azure CLI. So it is asking me whether I want to send the telemetry to Microsoft. See, whatever command you are typing wrongly or whatever error you are getting, if you want to send those telemetry data, it is not going to send any kind of customer information or confidential information. It is just going to send the error or it is mainly for user experience improvement activities. It will go and identify the common typos that you are making, common issues, errors, pattern, and all those things, so that they understand the challenges from the customer and they will help you to automatically rectify that. Okay, so mainly if you want to send it, you can send it. But if you're working for a banking industry or a healthcare industry, you have to you should not allow the telemetry, because they don't allow any data going out from your system. Okay, but here in lab you can just say yes. Okay, now you get the console here. Okay, so you can see that it has got the interactive console. Now if I go and say virtual machine, it will ask what kind of VM you want to create. It is loading the console now. So let's go and type AZ. It is loading. Okay, let's give it a minute. So it's loading that particular module. Okay, so it is loading. If you want to practice these things, start with very basic thing. For example, try to create a resource group, try to create a storage account, try to create a small web application and so on. So let's see. Let me go and type group and then see if I type, I mean, see, automatically it gives me interactive option. So I can just go and select which action I want, whether create or delete or list. I can just go and find the list now. I can just select the list here. I can just start typing list and enter. So now it will give me the complete list of resource groups in my account. See, it is showing me that I've got Stan, Kubernetes thing, and I've got a few more resource group. So this is the interactive method that Microsoft provides you to enhance your learning experience. So now, see, if I go one step back, and then if I want to create some virtual machine or resource group, I can just say group and then create. You need not memorize it. Automatically gives me a help file also here. If I run this command, it is going to create a new resource group. It is telling me by default it is going to create it in West US. But if you don't want to create it there, you can just go and say -L, and you can see a complete example here on the bottom. Okay, you can just follow along the example here. Okay, you can just type East US, and then you can just say my resource group name is Stan resource group -02. So that's it. It will go and create a new resource group, and you can start seeing the resources getting created here. Let me go and show you that. So by this is a very easy way to learn thing. So you can check for the resource group, refresh it. Now you can see the stand resource group 2, which got created in East US. Similarly, you can go and create virtual machine. Now let's try that. VM create. Now it's asking for the details here, right? You can see that it is giving me these options. You can either type admin password or admin username. Now we know where exactly we made the mistake. Okay, see, they are telling us these are the two mandatory required parameters or required arguments. I can just say hyphen name, and I can just give it a name, stan VM02, and then I can just say hyphen group, or I can just say resource group stan rg -02, and then here now you can just go and choose the image. I can just type hyphen image, and it gives me a complete example gets changed automatically here. Like if you look at the option here, I can just go and choose which operating system I want from this list. So you can just start typing Windows, and it is giving me these many options: 2022 data center, perfect. And I can just try what are the other things that I can select. See, I can select admin hyphen username, and then I can just give something like stan, and then hyphen admin hyphen password. So I can give it in a string. Okay, mostly I think the problem is with the string here. Okay, let me also provide this in a string format. Okay, let me enter, and then let's check if it is asking for the credential. It said something and then it came back. Let me go and type something, password at 2345. Single quotes also should work. Okay, it is creating now. See, last time the mistake that we made is we did not provide the string in a quote actually. So that is the problem. Okay, so now it is building the image or machine, and it will create it. So Azure Interactive Terminal is an easier way to learn Microsoft Azure CLI. If you just type Azure Interactive, it will install that plugin, and from there on, you can start learning the commands to create different Azure resources, and it is pretty straightforward. There are other commands that are available, like for example, if you do go to your uh, let me show you that. So if I go to my command prompt here, I can also go and find how do I save the profile. Okay, so if I go and just I want to find out commands which has got secret, or which has got something key vault or whatever, I can just go and say az find. If I want to create and store some secret information, then I can go and type secret. What this will do is it will go and bring all the command that has got secret in that particular. It can be a command, or it can be even an example with the word secret. So you can go and find commands which has got secret word in that. Okay, similarly, if I want to create an Azure web application, I can just go and say Azure find web app. So it will give me examples of how to use those Azure web application, or how to create a web application with a specific name, or how to delete a web application, or whatever. So Azure find command is very useful command, where you can go and find a command with a specific string or a specific search word. Okay, so that you can get the complete command syntax, which with that you will be able to quickly create and manage it. Sometimes when you are doing the creation, or when you are working on this, there are chances that you might not get a lot of data, or a lot of information, debugging information, or detailed useful information. So how do we enable that? See, for example, I want to create a resource group, but when I go and create the resource group, okay, so I can just say hyphen resource group name. I can just say stan rg03, and then location I can just say east us. So if I type this, it will give me a very basic output, and it will not give me a detailed information. So if I want to understand what is happening, I can enable debug mode, I can enable verbose mode, so that it prints a lot of information, and it provides you a lot of debugging information. See, now when it creates, it will give me what happens on the back end, what API it calls, whether something is misspelled, or something is not working as expected. It gives you a lot of telemetry information. So what kind of telemetry information this is going to capture and send to Microsoft, everything you'll get. If you enable the hyphen verbose and hyphen uh, debug mode, it will go and check how much time it took to create the resource, what kind of validation it did. So whatever backend modules loading, whatever backend command that it executed, everything will be populated for you to understand what happened here. Now you can just see there is some example, what it says. Okay, invalid group. Okay, it says there is some issue with the syntax here, possibly. Now let's go and try this. Okay, I think it says then RG is misspelled, or it is not recognized. Okay, so Azure group, we have not given any switches. Okay, we need to create, right? So we need to give what actions we need to perform. And without that, it is not going to make any sense. Okay, now this time it created. See, it has created a new resource group with tan RG and succeeded and all those things. So you get a lot of debugging information, a lot of verbose information. Even if you add these hyphen verbose and hyphen debug, your script also can be more effective. When there is some issue with your script, or when you are having some challenges with running it from your pipeline, CI/CD pipeline, you get a lot of additional data. You have to add hyphen verbose mode for sorry, think I'll just add quotes, because when I type something with hyphen in Excel, it takes different thing. So verbose mode, it is to print information about the resource creation, or activity that we are performing. If you want to get little more details, you can also say hyphen debug. Okay, this will give you a lot of debugging information. It is mainly for understanding if there is any bug or error, or any issues with your deployment. Similarly, you have a lot of options. You can use hyphen output to get your output in different format, like JSON, or table, or TSV, or YAML, JSON C. There are many format. Okay, just some examples here. What else we have? We have hyphen help. That is the prime thing that we generally use. So with all these, you don't have to memorize anything. You can go and create any services using this Azure command line. Only thing you need to know is, like, it starts with AZ, and then you have a resource name. That also you can go and get as a help. If I go and just type AZ hyphen help, it is going to give me the complete list of resource names. Okay, what are the different resources you can create? VM, web app, storage, all these things. Okay, and also you can use these command to log in and log out. If you want to upgrade your Azure CLI, you can use upgrade option, or if you want to find out the version, you can just say version. Okay, so far any questions from anyone on the Azure CLI or the Cloud Shell? See, the Azure CLI, it's already pre-installed on your console here. So if I want to work on Azure CLI, I can directly go to my Cloud Shell here, and then I can directly start using it. If I go and start typing something like Azure group delete, what was the thing? Hyphen name stan hyphen rg hyphen 03, it will go and delete the resource group. Okay, so you need not install the Azure CLI on the Cloud Shell. It comes pre-installed. So I'm just deleting one of the resource group that I created very recently, and it is deleting that. Similarly, you can do any activities from within your Cloud Shell also. See, it is deleting this Azure RG03 now. So after this is completed, this will go off. Any questions from anyone so far? See, it has created that VM02, which we have just created. Okay, if you want to delete that, you can also delete that VM now. So it's just a matter of understanding when we are stuck, how to deal with the situation. So if you want to learn for the first time, always use the interactive method, use the help file as much as possible, and then you will be able to work on it. See, any command line interface, Linux or Unix or command line, you have to practice on your own. There is no alternate for that. In order to become familiar, you need to spend at least a few minutes or a couple of hours. Automatically you will be able to understand how we can work on this. Now it has deleted that storage group, and if I want to delete my VM, I can just go and say VM, and then this VM is in which resource group. I can just give the name of the VM, stan VM02, and then this is on the resource group stan rg-02. So it will delete the virtual machine with name stan VM02. Simple as that. Okay, you can create, delete, list, modify, upgrade. So you have a lot of switches to play around. And with Cloud Shell, you need not install any tools on any separate machine. You can directly use it from your browser directly, web browser. Okay, now let's start exploring Azure PowerShell. Um, let's give it a couple of minutes, and then we'll also see if there is anything else we can quickly learn. Okay, it is taking a few minutes. Okay, so let it run on the back end. There is no error. It is going on, and you can see that the status will be getting deleted and removed now in few minutes. Now let's go and explore Azure PowerShell. Okay, PowerShell, it's again very powerful as the name indicates, and so historically, I'm not sure how many of you have basic understanding about PowerShell. PowerShell, there are many variant available nowadays. Earlier, we used to have Windows PowerShell, which is Windows default PowerShell. Okay, when you go with Microsoft Windows operating system, based on the Windows OS version, the Windows PowerShell will come pre-installed. For example, in my Windows 2022, this machine is what Win version. This is Windows Server 2019. So in this one, if I want to go and check the PowerShell, I can just say dollar PowerShell version table dot PowerShell version. So here PS. Oh, okay. We are in command prompt. We need to switch to PowerShell in order to run that command. So now I have switched to PowerShell prompt. I can just type ps version table dot ps version. So it is on 5.1. This is a very old version, okay, and this is a pre-installed version that comes in your operating system. You can either you can switch from command prompt to PowerShell by just typing PowerShell, or you can also go to Start and then you can type PowerShell. So it will bring me different options. If you look at here, you see a lot of different options here. So Windows PowerShell, this is the default 64-bit version. Okay, so the Windows PowerShell option here, this is the default 64-bit option. See, if you see Windows PowerShell, this is the default, okay, and then this is default 64-bit version of PowerShell. And if you are seeing something on the bracket like x86, that is 32-bit version installed on your operating system. 32-bit version installed on your operating system. Okay, and there are two other things called ISE, okay, integrated scripting environment. If you are a developer or if you are a automation, if you are part of the automation team, generally we will go and write the script within your ISE. It is the integrated scripting environment for writing your script. Okay, again here also you get two options, uh, just ISE and ISE x86 version. 32-bit version and 64-bit. Default one is 32-bit version, and within the bracket, if you have x86, that is 64-bit. Sorry, 32-bit without anything there. It is a 64-bit release actually. Now, if you want to manage the PowerShell, if you want to use the latest version, you have something called just PowerShell, or earlier we used to call it as Microsoft PowerShell, but now they are just calling it as PowerShell. So this PowerShell, if you want to use it, you have to go and download that latest version. So I'll show you PowerShell latest version download. So by default, I mean, you will get a version 7 now. So this is different from your Windows PowerShell. Windows PowerShell comes pre-installed, but now what I'm going to install is the not the Windows PowerShell. I'm going to install the PowerShell version 7. So I can go and install it from the App Store, or what you can do is you can also download it from the link here. Installing Windows PowerShell is old. Okay, so you can go to the GitHub location here. This is the best location. Okay, so you will find all the previous and current releases. So you can go and install whichever version you want. So here I want to install the latest version. Latest version is version 7.4. If I click on this, it will download the latest version. So you have got options to download MSI file, you have got options to download the Linux package, tar file, and then you have the package for OS X and different things. Now I want to install it on the Windows platform. If I want to install it on Windows platform, I have to download the MSI file or the zip file. I'll go with the MSI file directly, and it will download me the latest version. So once after it is downloaded, you can go and install it just like any other tool. Okay, so now we are installing PowerShell. PowerShell is different from Windows PowerShell. Windows PowerShell is the default PowerShell tool that comes in your Microsoft operating system, but that is very old. This is the latest one, version 7. So Microsoft has stopped releasing new version on Windows PowerShell. So you always have to use the latest PowerShell that is available on the open source. So if you want to understand little more on the PowerShell history and all those things, I have a session separately available that is open for everyone. You can go and learn it. Okay, so here if I want to enable remotely managing this PowerShell from another machine or using remoting, I can also enable this, and I can install it. Okay, so if I want to update or upgrade the version automatically using Windows Update, I can check that option. There were two options there. I selected it. So now we are installing PowerShell. This is not Windows PowerShell. Okay, this is different. So now I can launch it. See, now it opens up a different colored window here. Okay, so if I go and type PowerShell now, it will show me something extra. Not this one. I have to check it in this machine. See, you can see that there is a PowerShell 7 preview version, but you can also install the older releases, whichever is already stable release. Microsoft provides three different variant. Okay, they provide stable variant, they provide the preview variant. So if you want to install some stable variant, you can go and install these stable version. Okay, these are all stable releases. Okay, which are not in preview, which are already in normal stable release. So if I go down, you can see which are the stable releases, or which ones are this is pre-release still. Okay, pre-release, we should not install it. We have to install the current um, see, you can install this one. This is the latest stable version. Okay, so just go and install whichever PowerShell version you want, and you can see that now if I go and run the PS version table, see, automatically it gives me the syntax also. It auto populates. If I type on the tab, it gives me the option to auto complete it. See, I can, it automatically shows me. That is the power of PowerShell 7. Now, you don't have to memorize anything there. Even a small command, it will show you the telemetry or the auto population. The interactive mode will turn on automatically. You don't have to enable it. Now you can see that we have this version 7.4. Major version is 7. By default in your operating system, the major version that comes is version 5. That is very, very old. Okay, and you have to use the PowerShell version 4 like this, so that you get the latest version to work on it. Now if I want to manage and um, uh, do something from your Azure PowerShell, Microsoft PowerShell commands are called as commandlet. Okay, instead of commands we call it as commandlets. So commandlets will have a kind of format like this. It will be verb hyphen noun. So when I say verb hyphen noun, verb describes the action, right? So verb is nothing but your action: create, delete, modify, and all those things. And then you have the noun, which is nothing but your resource. Okay, you want to create a VM, or you want to get some details. For example, get is the action. Okay, and if I want to get the process is a resource. If I want to start a service, start is the action, and service is the resource. So I can just go and show you something like that. So get hyphen see, it automatically gives me the option. If I click on tab, automatically it will populate different options there, but I can start typing it. If I go and say get hyphen process, it will give me the list of process running on this machine. If I go and want to start a service, I can just say start hyphen service. That simple it is. Okay, so these are all these things gets pre-installed. Okay, so now let's do one thing. Let us log into one of our Azure account, and then let's try to run some commands here. So if I want to connect to my Microsoft Azure, we have two versions again, like your Azure CLI. You also have two versions in your Azure PowerShell also. Currently, we are using the AZ module, and I think the AZ module is available. There are two versions. There is a AZ PowerShell module. So PowerShell module is nothing but group of commandlets. Okay, when you say module, module is group of commandlets with some specific features. For example, if you want to manage Active Directory, you can install Active Directory module. Like on the other day, we installed something, right? For Azure AD Connect, we installed AD Connect module. Similarly, if you want to manage a specific service like a database or Active Directory or group policy or whatever, you can go and install those commandlets. They provide it in a bundled concept called modules. So here in Azure, the module is called AZ module. But earlier, we used to have one more module called AZ RM module, okay, or we call it as AZ RM module, Azure Resource Manager module. This is available even now, but this will get deprecated in by Feb 2024. We have one more year, but still we need to migrate our scripts from the older version. This is the old version. We have to migrate it from this module to the latest module. How do we do that? So it's very simple. Microsoft provides you an excellent guide on how to automatically migrate it. So if you have a Azure RM command, if you want to upgrade it to or migrate it to Azure PowerShell module, there are only 2 or 3 commands that you need to do, and automatically all your existing commands will be converted to the latest version. Okay, so even if you want to upgrade your modules or whatever, you just have to run two commands. You want to upgrade the module plan from the older version to the newer version. Simple as that. You can easily migrate it. Only two commands are needed to migrate or change from older version to new version. So migration option is there. If your organization is currently using the old PowerShell AZRM module, if you want to come to the new module, you have to use the migration option. Just you have to follow this two command and automatically it will upgrade it. The command is this one, Azure new Azure upgrade plan. So you need to just run this command to upgrade it. Very straightforward and simple. Okay, but don't worry about, because we are just practicing here, we don't have any old module. But if you have an old module in your organization, if you want to upgrade to the latest version, you can just upgrade by using that command. Okay, now let's go and try and log into my subscription. By default, if I go and start using my command, it will not give any output. If I go and say Azure VM, it will not show anything now because we are not connected to anything, or this commandlets are not available in my machine. So in order to install these commandlet, or in order to connect to a particular Azure account, first thing is we need to install the module. So how do we install the module? So we need to go and find out what are the currently installed modules on this machine. I can just say get installed module. Let's see what output we get. Okay, yeah, it doesn't give any output. Let's say let's try and install the module now. I will go and install the module. Install hyphen module space. If I want to install AZ module, then I have to use AZ. If I want to install VM module, we can use the AZ RM module. But I want to install the latest one. I'll just give AZ module. And I think this command is enough. But if you want to force the installation, or if you want to overwrite anything on your machine, you can use the force option. And also you can use allow clobber to force the installation. But I think this is enough. Okay, it says hyphen force is not acceptable. I think we need to use allow clobber to force it. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, we don't have to do anything like this. Let's remove this. Can just try to install the module directly. Sorry, AZ, and then let's try. Yeah, it is asking us whether we want to install it. I'll just say yes to all. So now it is going to bring that module from the PowerShell gallery, and it will install the AZ module. If you're still using the old module in your organization, you have to type AZRM instead of AZ. You have to install the AZRM package. Now it is installing the AZ related package. So any commands that is available for managing your Azure platform, everything will get installed. See, it is installing Azure Data Lake, Azure Data Protection, Azure DNS, Event Hub, all the different services related package is getting installed. Virtual machine, storage account, migration, monitoring, everything is getting installed. Network. So let's give it a minute. It will get installed, and we can just try to run some of the command. See, if you want to limit it for a specific user or a specific logged in user, you can also limit it. So the very easy command, it's like install hyphen module space hyphen name AZ. This is enough. But if you want to specifically limit it for a specific user, you can just say hyphen scope for the current user or a specific username. And you can also limit it for who can use this module, or for whom this module get installed. Right now, let's go and check the current thing. It is taking some time to update your PowerShell prompt. Okay, so give it a minute or two, and then we can go and run the command. Yeah, it is done now. Let me clear the screen, and now I can just go and say get hyphen. Let's go and look at the module now. We can just say get installed module. See, it has installed all the modules which has got Azure related services. Every single Azure related resources can be managed now. So if I want to specifically list down only Azure related one, I can just go and say hyphen name AZ. It will provide the version of the AZ module, the overall main module. Okay, so this is the 9.3 version. I think that is the latest one and we are good to do. Okay, now I can just go and say get hyphen AZVM. Okay, this is the command to get the list of Azure virtual machine. Very simple. It is uh, verb hyphen noun. Okay, it says there is no subscription found in the context, so you cannot get the VM, right? So you need to connect or log into your account or subscription, then only you will be able to get the details, right? So what is the command to do that? You have to connect to a Azure account. It is pretty straightforward English. Okay, so you can connect to Azure account and it will ask which account, and I can select the account, and then automatically the authentication completes and you will be able to log in here. Now it will give the same output what we saw in the Azure CLI. Now I am connected to my MSDN platform. So now if I want to get the Azure virtual machine, it will give me the output. See, I am not typing at all, but still it is giving me what to type and complete it. So that easy it is. Okay, so don't memorize any command for Azure CLI or PowerShell. You will get it by default. Now I can see I have got one virtual machine that is already available. And if I want to get the Azure, what do you call, resource group or the other services, you can also go and get the list of locations. See, I mean, the problem is you have to, let me type, let's see if it works uppercase and lowercase. Okay, I think it will accept it. Let's see. Okay, it has to bring all the locations. Yeah, it is giving me all the locations like South America and Middle East and what are the different subscription available. Every detail it has brought here, and you can filter it. Okay, so if you are familiar with your uh, PowerShell, there are a lot of options with which you can go and select a specific location or see it is showing every content here, right? But I just want the location alone, or if I want the region type alone. If I want to get that, you can just filter it. You can just use a pipeline symbol, and the output of that command will be manipulated using this filtering option, and you can just go and say I want to select only the location. Okay, so whatever you want to select, you can just select whatever the content you want, and now it will only give the output of locations alone. And if you want to save it in a file, you can also save it in a specific file using the redirection symbol. See, now it has given only the location data alone. So now I can just clear the screen. Okay, let me create a folder, stand test one. Okay, here I can just go and say get hyphen AZ location. See, it has uh, brought me the complete thing. If I just say if I click the right arrow mark, it will automatically complete the command, and I can get the command output in a text file or a Excel file or whatever file you want. See, now the output will be stored in this file name. Now, if I want to open that file, I can just say Azure location.txt. It will give me the output here. Or if I want to open it in a notepad, I can also open it in a notepad. And then it will open up in a notepad. We'll be able to see that. Okay, that simple it is. So this is the very basic starting thing. I'll show you how to create the resources, how to have a stored credential, and then manage the Azure platform. And also, I will give you some hint on how to make yourself familiar with Azure PowerShell exercises. Okay, so let's take a small break and come back, and then we'll continue with Azure PowerShell. Okay, any questions before we go for the break? Okay, so now, okay, let me stop the recording and we'll take the break and come back.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so with Azure PowerShell, okay, so I mean it's again very similar to your Azure command line. Again, you don't have to memorize any of the command. Okay, I'll give you some tips on how to work with the Azure PowerShell here. Okay, so I can just clear the screen and You can also check the PowerShell version using PWSH also. Okay, so this will also give you the PowerShell version. You can also use $PS version table and all those things. Also, you can use the PWSH PowerShell version. So as I told you, in production environment, we always have to install the stable release. So how do we find, how do I go and filter the stable releases from this one? Okay, so I can help you with a tip here. Okay, so if I go to my also known as ms, so any Microsoft site that you want to access, you can just type aka.ms, also known as Microsoft slash, and if you want to find out PowerShell release, you can just type PowerShell release, and you can add a question mark there. And if you want to check for some stable PowerShell releases, or if I want to get the preview one, it will give me the complete list like this. So let's see. Yeah, it provides only the latest stable releases. It has ignored the old release and the preview ones. So if I want to change it to preview, you can change it to preview and then filter down only the releases that are stable. So you can install this 7.3.1, which is the stable release as per Microsoft. See, this is the latest one also. This is the latest stable release. Generally, we have to install the 7.3.1 version, but I think here we have installed 7.4, which is a preview version. But in production environment, we should not use preview because it will have some bugs also. Because when it is in preview, there will be a lot of changes that Microsoft is making based on the end user experience or the customer experience. So if you're a developer, if you are interested in using PowerShell from the .NET program or from the .NET tool, you can also install the .NET SDK, and that is also straightforward. You can just go and install the .NET tool. Okay, .NET.microsoft.com/download. You can download the .NET package, the .NET SDK. You can install the latest SDK, whichever you want, and you can start using this from the direct link. Okay, it's already downloaded. Okay, you can just go and install it. Open the file. Just install the SDK alone, software development kit. Once after you install it, you can go and install your okay, let me just install this SDK. You can also install the PowerShell module for your .NET. Even you can add Visual Studio also. See, if you go to my Visual Studio, if you have a Visual Studio tool installed, so if I go and create something, it also gives me a option to create some PowerShell files. If it is not available, you can go and add it as a additional module. Okay, so here you can see that PowerShell is already here. Okay, if I don't have it, you can go and add it as additional extension or module. Okay, now this will help me to create a PowerShell script, or you can work directly from the Visual Studio. Similarly, I'm just showing you the .NET option. Let this get installed. So now we are done with this SDK installation. Did I click it twice? Okay. I think I clicked it multiple times. Oh, many times. Let me close these things. Okay, now what I can do is I can just go to my PowerShell or my command prompt, and I'll be able to use the .NET command. If I'm not able to use it, you can just go and add it to your environment variable. I can just say .NET tool install for all the global users, the PowerShell one. And developers will do this. Okay, so developer will install the using the .NET tool, they will install the PowerShell package, and they will be using it from the .NET itself. But mostly, like for us, like we need to understand only the administrative way of working on that. But just understand that PowerShell can be integrated to your scripting environment, or integrated tooling, integrated scripting environment like Visual Studio or any other tool. And also you can have it pre-installed for your SDKs also, for your software development kits also. So yeah, that's fine. Okay, but now let's understand the administrative aspect of it. So if I want to get the list of Azure virtual machines, we already ran the command, right? I can just say Azure VM, and I got all the list of Azure virtual machine. Now, if I want to create something new, like a new, let's go and find out the Azure storage account. Always try the easier ones. Okay, now it will show me a lot of account, because we have got, okay, only 3. Okay, so we have got these 3 storage accounts in my subscription. And if I want to verify which subscription I'm connected to, or which subscription I'm working on, I can just say get hyphen AZ subscription. So that will give me the subscription details which I'm connected to. So if I want to change from one subscription to another subscription to avoid any mistake, what I can do is I can just copy the subscription ID and then use that to set the context. Okay, so how do I do that? You can just go and say set hyphen AZ context. If I don't want to directly do it, Microsoft PowerShell provides you stored variables. For example, if I want to store this in a particular content, if I want to reuse this um, subscription again and again, I can just say context is equal to get hyphen AZ subscription, and then I can give the subscription ID. So hyphen subscription ID. Don't worry about this, okay? I'm just showing someone example of how to store the variables. Instead of repeatedly typing and using this thing, I can just store it in a context format. Similarly, you can also store your standard username, password, everything in a stored variable, okay? So let me now try to set the context. Now it will be pretty straightforward for me. Now I can just go and set the Azure context that all my command execution should be targeted to this subscription ID. So how do I do that? Just mention dollar context, and whatever I have stored, this context will be applied. So you can either do it like this, or you can also change it by you can say set hyphen AZ context, and then you can give the complete subscription ID. You can do it two ways. Okay. So here, if I go and say get AZ context, it will tell me which subscription I'm working against. I'm working against this MSDN platform subscription ID. Okay, so that you can understand which Azure subscription or Azure account you are currently working on. Now, if I don't know what to do with Azure PowerShell or Azure commands, then you can just use the help here. In Azure PowerShell, every command should follow the verb hyphen noun combination. So verb is I want to get the details. What I want to get, I want to help the help manual, or I want to get the help file. So get hyphen help is the command. And now I've got get, update, save, and all those things. So it's always a good practice to update the help documentation. You can update the help documentation so that you get all the latest help files in your local machine. So it will update your complete help content. So it is always a best practice in your organization always to update the help content to the latest, so that you don't have to repeatedly go and check for information in the internet portal. Instead, you'll have all the help data in your local machine itself, but you don't install it on all the machines. But if you're using a jump server, or if you're using your own laptop, you update it so that you get all the latest help content added in your local machine. It will add all the help content for the modules that is installed on your machine. So it will update the help file. Now it is updating it. So it will take 1 or 2 minutes. And once after it is done, I can go and show you how to make use of it. So let it get installed. Meanwhile, I can just go and duplicate this window. Or I can just create and open up a new prompt. So here, if I want to get help on a specific command, for example, I want to get an example how to create a new Azure resource group or new Azure storage account, for an example. It will give me a detailed command syntax. With that, I'll be able to install it. See, I mean, I'll be able to create resources. So if you look at the command here, it says get hyphen help. If I want a detailed full help file, I can just use this command. Or if I want to get the online document, you can just say hyphen online. It will take me to the internet latest help page. Now this will give me the help, complete full help actually. See, and here also you will get the sample command. If I scroll up, see, it is giving me the complete command like this. Okay, I can just copy this, or I can also copy. See, there are 17 examples. Okay, so I can just copy the top one, which might be pretty straightforward. Too many examples. Example 10, example 9. So let me scroll to the top. If I want to limit the help file, I can also limit it. But now let's new storage account. I think this is okay. This example 8 is somewhat okay, but it has also additional encryption enablement and all those unnecessary things. Let's start with the basic one. So here, if you want to create a storage account, see, this is the command. Okay, pretty straightforward. So just copy this, open up a notepad, and then you can just easily reuse this. Exactly, it will look like the same. See, at the end, we need to provide the basic information. So even in Azure CLI, we provided the same exact thing. The complete syntax was the same. Only thing, it started with AZ space storage account, but here we are using verb hyphen noun. That is the only difference. So here I can just say I want to create it in stan rg02, and I can just give some name like my storage account 1002 and invest US, and you can create it like this using a standard geo redundant storage this time. Okay, now I can clear the screen and I can go and create it. Okay, it says 1002 is already taken, so I'll just say 10,002, something like that. That is also taken. Okay, so let's do one thing. I'll just say 101, and here instead of my storage, I can just call it as stan storage. Okay, it will create it. Similarly, if you want to create a new virtual machine, you can just say new, you can just go and say new Azure VM. This is the command. See, the beauty of this Azure PowerShell, you don't have to enter any arguments or any switches. It is asking what is the name that you want to give to your Azure virtual machine. I can just say stan VM03. Okay, and it will ask what is the username that you want to use. I can give the username. What is the password that I want to use? I can also give the password. And it says like what kind of size you want to use. I went with the default. As simple as that. If you just know the command, that itself is enough, and automatically it will ask the mandatory parameters, the mandatory positional parameter, and it will allow you to create it. Even you don't have to go to the help and do all those things. It is very easy, very simple to work with Azure PowerShell commands. But if you want to write a script, or if you want to go one step further, I'll give you some tips here. Okay, so now you can see that it has got created. I can just go and get the storage account. I should start seeing the stan storage account 101. Yeah, it is there. Okay, in storage account in resource group 02, and it has created as a GRS1 invest US. Perfect. Now deleting is very straightforward. Remove hyphen az storage account, and then just the name is enough. Okay, what is the name here? If a name is stan storage 01. Yeah, I think this should be okay. Sometimes I think this resource group is also needed. Let's see. Yeah, it is asking for what is asking? Yeah, it is asking for resource group name. I'll just say stan rg 2. If something is mandatory, it will ask those details. It is deleting it. You can just instead of prompting, you can just add hyphen resource group name, and you can give the name here itself. Okay, done. So if this time what I will do is I'll just use this stan storage account 002, or I can use this my storage account 1001. See, it automatically added the thing. When I copied it, it pre-populated it, and I can just say hyphen resource group name. It is just plain English. Okay, and, you have to just type whatever the standard name. You can also copy it from here also. This is the thing that you are entering there. So the same exact thing you are entering here. Okay, now I can just give the storage resource group name, enter. Simple. And if you want to confirm, you can also type hyphen confirm hyphen y. It will automatically confirm and delete it. So very straightforward. Okay, now I can just go and get the list of storage account. Now I should see only 2 accounts. Rest of the other 2 got deleted. Okay, similarly, you can create, you can go and check the Azure VMs now. I think it should show up the new VM now, which we created just now. See, stan VM03 is created, succeeded. Simple. Okay, so done. So here it says creating Azure resources 9%, but still I'm able to see the VM already created, and it's available here. Okay. Any questions so far until what we have seen now? Okay. So one tip that I want to show you is, see, if you don't have an Azure subscription, you can also use the Microsoft Azure Learn subscription, through which you can go and practice many of these things. So I've copied this link here. Okay, I'll show you. I'll also put it in the Excel file. See, if you go to this exercise, these are the two exercises that is very good for your learning. Okay, how to create resources interactively in PowerShell. This is one exercise that you can do, and if you do this, you'll get thorough knowledge, number one. And then similarly, if I want to learn how to create script, use this link. Okay, if you complete these two exercises, you will feel little more comfortable in working with Azure PowerShell. So now let's go and create some resources. Okay, it says create and save script, but yeah, let's try this. Let's follow this. So now the biggest advantage is that you can sign in to activate the sandbox. So whatever resources we are creating it here, it won't cost your subscription. This is from a training and subscription concept. Okay, it will activate the learning subscription, and you don't have to really worry about it. So let me just uh, select. Okay, just a second. Where did we log in last time? Hmm, no thanks. Yeah. So now what it will do is, if you go and check this, it will add a Microsoft Learn subscription. Here you can also switch over. So it is asking to verify our account. You can also verify. So pick the mouse that can't reach the cheese. This one. These kind of puzzles are interesting. Okay, mouse and cheese. This one can reach. This one also can reach. I think this is the one answer. Yeah. Oh, one more. Pick the mouse that can't reach the. This is the one. Pick the mouse that can't reach this one. Fine. Now it has opened up a learning PowerShell module. It is creating the sandbox. Whatever you are creating in sandbox, you don't have to pay for it. Okay, it is all free subscription, and your Azure subscription will not be charged. Okay, you can practice all advanced services also using this Microsoft free lab. This is only for educational purpose. You cannot use it in production. Okay, let's go and it gives you option to play around with the sandbox for 1 hour. Okay, so you can you even need not know any command. Okay, so you get all the options on the left. You just have to go and start using it. So in order to create a new Azure VM, just copy and paste it here on the right, and you are all good to start. Okay, so you can understand what is the purpose of that command, what is the switches that is there. So just spend a few minutes on the screen, and you will automatically get to understand how to create a VM, how to stop it, how to remove it, how to get the complete resource details. And once after you do this, you will get a fair understanding on how to create and save the script. Okay, so once after you complete all the exercise, the command whatever you ran, it will be stored as a ps1 file, and that PowerShell version 1 file, I mean the ps1 file, you can use it to create a new system using that PowerShell script. Okay, I'll show how to do this in a separate offline recording, because I mean if I start doing this, this will take at least 30 minutes now, so we have very less time, but you can also do it. I will provide the learning. You just have to follow along. Okay, you have to just copy paste whatever command that is there on the left to the right, and yeah, this is again on the learning subscription. This is a sandbox one. You don't have to pay anything for creating here. So let me show you how to execute the command. So just say Yeah, that's it. So it will allow us to create it. It is asking for the credential. I can just give the username and password. That's it. So you can have very closer attention on what are the different resource group name that we are giving, what is the VM name that we are giving. So it is all very straightforward. Okay, it says the name is already used, but you can change it. You can also change the Ubuntu LTS version to some different version, or else in my account, I'm having some challenges in DS version 3. So, or it is saying this Ubuntu version is not allowed. You can change it to something else like Windows or some other flavor. Okay, try to do this exercise, these two exercise, and you will get to understand how to work with Microsoft Azure PowerShell. Okay, I'll add this link in the Excel sheet so that you can practice along. Okay, it will take at least 30 minutes to 1 hour. If you're doing it for the first time, yeah, definitely it will take some time. Where is the other link? And this will help you to get some familiarity on doing it. See, if I do it, I am just going to copy paste it, and it is going to just consume the time. Instead, you can learn and get better on how to work on this. Okay, I'll also record this and then share it in the offline, because we have got one more important topic to cover now. So now let's get into ARM templates. So both these tools, we don't have to even memorize any switches, any parameters. You can easily learn without memorizing anything. Okay, just go through the video again. If you are, if you have distracted, it is very straightforward. You have a lot of options to learn this very easily. So the next option is infrastructure as a code. If you want to create any Azure resources from a declarative way, from a code or from a template file, then Azure template is the ARM template is the current option. I will also share some information about Bicep, but Bicep it is not very heavily used, but it will be used in the near future. I'll also share an offline video on Bicep, but we will learn ARM template. This is the currently used infrastructure as a code option. So when I say infrastructure as a code, see in an organization, when application is developing a particular application or a program, how do they do that? They go and start writing in a code, right, or in a kind of file. Similarly, organization want to have your infrastructure created using a program, or infrastructure created using a declarative way in a code format. So that is the logic here. So you have to create everything as a code, infrastructure as code, and the basic option is your ARM template. You can also use Bicep, or you can also use Terraform, or third-party tools like Pulumi and all those things. But now we learn how to use the ARM template. On the back end, whatever code, whatever template we are writing, it has to be in two different format. One is the JSON format and YAML format. In most of the cloud provider, if you're working with Kubernetes, Docker, and all those things, you will mostly use YAML format. But with ARM template, we predominantly use the JSON format. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. This is the templating language. So people have to be very clear with different things. See, there are three different things. So when we talk about the declarative syntax, here we are talking about templating languages. This is different from programming languages. This is different from scripting languages. These are three different things. Okay, people get confused with these three different things. I don't know program, I don't know how to write code or whatever. These are all different, three different things actually. So you can learn scripting and templating even without a basic programming language. For if in order to write a program, definitely you need to learn that particular application program and then start writing it. But templates and scripts and all, a plain English language is enough to start working on it. Okay, now whatever we are learning is a templating language. So JSON and YAML, these are all two popular templating language, and it uses open standard format. There is no specific format for that. And also you go and write it in a human readable format. You don't use machine language, or you don't go and write it in binaries or whatever. You just go and write it in a plain English text. Okay, it's a human readable text, and whatever you are creating using template, everything gets transmitted as an object. But if you're using older version, it used to be things, but everything now either PowerShell or JSON template or Azure CLI, everything gets transmitted as a data object. And whatever you are creating in JSON or YAML, every information that we provide will be in a key value format, like your Active Directory, username, location details, and department. So you have key value pairs, right? Similarly, in your tagging or in your labeling, you use key value format. So here also in JSON, we use every information in a key value format. So now we need to understand how does the structure of the template looks like. Okay, what is the structure of JSON or YAML? So structure of JSON, it has some mandatory information. See, when you are a level 2 engineer or level 3 engineer or even a level 1 engineer, we go and write a lot of documentation, right? SOP, lessons learned, KB article, and all those things. So in order to ensure that you are using the latest version or the created date and all those things, what we generally do, we go and add a version control on the top. Okay, we have a table where we will say version 1 created by this person, these changes were made, this date we made the changes, so that whoever is picking up the document, they know which is the latest file, latest version, or latest template. Similarly here, if you are writing a JSON document or a JSON structure, so it should always have a version control. And you can also have a schema, which version or which uh, latest one you are using. So you can have a schema and version, but these are all not mandatory things, but it's a good practice to give versioning. And you can also give a description. Okay, what is the purpose of this particular JSON template? Is it used for creating a particular application for a particular department or XYZ, whatever you want to type? This is a plain text field. You can type whatever you want to make the people understand what is the purpose of this script or purpose of this JSON document. Okay, now next thing, that these are all optional. Okay, so a description and all you need not give it, but if you give it, that is fine. And you can also provide parameters are nothing but the values that we gave, right? When you created a resource group using Azure PowerShell or Azure CLI, we gave some resource group name, and then we gave the storage account name and all those things, right? Those are all parameters and information. And here we also need to provide the resources details. Okay, when I say resources, what are the resources here? Virtual machine, resource group, network interface card, storage account. So all these are network security group. All these are resources in Azure platform. And sometimes you also need to provide variables, but variables are not always needed. Okay, so at times we need to have the variables. I'll show you how that is different from parameter. And we can also add what kind of output I want to provide when the JSON document is used for creating some resources. What kind of output I want, whether I want to show the resource group name, or whether I want to show the storage network security group name, or whatever you want to showcase or show as an output, you can add those as an output field. This is also not mandatory. So only the mandatory things you need to definitely have: parameters, you need to have resources, and the rest of the things are not very important. But if you give all these details, it will be a very good proper document. You can also add additional properties if you want to mention some specific SKU, or if you want to give some performance, standard performance or premium or metadata. All these properties can also be specified. Okay, so these are the mandatory uh, components, or within the document you should have these navigation options. I'll show you how to use that. We can also use couple of more things like conditions and mapping, but we use this very rarely. Okay, I'll explain that. Okay, so let's go and learn how to work on this. Let's go to Azure, log into Azure platform. Okay, let's use here only. I have logged in from here, right? So here I can just go and type ARM templates, or just template is also fine. See, if I select this, okay, one more important tip that I missed to share. If you want to work on your PowerShell, or if you're working on PowerShell and if you don't know where exactly the default tools or the scripts are stored, there is a location where the default scripts are stored. I can just show you that. Mm, See, if you go to this location, I think not this one. Azure. Just a second. GitHub. It will be Azure-docs. Yeah, here it is. See, this is the PowerShell sample. For every resources, you'll have complete PowerShell script available for virtual machine, for virtual network, storage. So don't create any script from the scratch. Everything will be available within this folder. You can go and use all the existing script. If you want to copy snapshot, or if you want to create a IAS VM, or if you want to create a Nginx VM, load balancer, if you want to create something in detail, every script is available in this location. Okay, you don't have to reinvent anything. Okay, all the PowerShell Azure related PowerShell sample scripts are already available. You don't have to reinvent anything from the scratch. Okay, you can just go and get the scripts from this location and start just modifying based on your organization. You just have to update the resource group name, or some very minimal changes have to be done. Okay, that is one another tip. Okay, just I've added it. You can just have a look on this particular link later. So now let's go to the template. I'll also show you this. So here, if you want to create a template from the scratch, you can also create it. As I told you, in next 2 years, in March 2025, they are going to deprecate ARM template, and we will be using Bicep from 2025. But I'll create a separate video on Bicep. Okay, but for now, Azure templates are available until March 2025. You can continue to use this. So there is option to use this for next 2 years, and after 2 years you have to start using the Bicep templating format. That is Microsoft native templating language. So now let's go and create it. If you want to create a JSON template, you can use this option, or else if you just go and type template, you will start seeing a template specification here, or you can also select the deploy a custom template. If I select this option, it will take me to a screen where I already have some sample templates here. So if you are doing it for the first time, if you want to create a landing zone, or if you want to create a Windows virtual machine or Linux virtual machine, you can start from this, or else these are the most commonly used template. And if you ask me, only are these the only template? No. So you can just go and click on this drop down. It will give me complete the basic 100 series are basic one single resource. If you scroll down, you will see two resources, three resources, and all those things, 200 series and all those things. So how do I get access to all this script? So this is actually stored in a particular folder. Okay, I can just show you that in GitHub. If you go to this path, let me show you this Azure ARM templates GitHub. Yeah, this is the one. So if you go to this quick start template, you will see every single basic modules available here. So here what you have to do is you have to select the demos, or the modules here. You can just go and take the demo. Okay, demo has got something. So for example, if I want to create a storage account, or if I want to create something, it is pretty straightforward. You have the option here. You have the template available here. I think there is one more option. Think blank. This is blank template. There is one more location where I can find, okay, quick start. Here it is. Okay, so if you go to quick start, you will see how to create every single resource in Microsoft Azure platform. See, for example, if I want to create a particular network, or if I want to create a specific resource, I can just directly go and open this, and you will get the complete template for each and everything. If I want to go and create a blob and a container, or if I want to create a storage account, just click on this link and you'll get the JSON file. Okay, and the beauty of this is, if you go and open that, you have the option to directly go and deploy to Azure. You don't have to really copy it and then paste it in a file, and you don't have to do anything here. So if I click on this deploy to Azure, this will go and start creating a storage account in my Azure account directly from the GitHub itself. From the GitHub, it will pick up that ARM template, and it will show me these options. I just have to select only one option, which resource group I need to deploy it. Okay, I just have to select it, and then I can create it. That simple it is. But I'll explain little more things. Okay, so here, if I go to the edit template option, it will give me the complete structure. See, this is what I was talking about. So I'll just copy this. So in this template, I'll just go and just say I'll create a new file. This is a JSON file, right? I can just say JSON, and then this is my new Azure storage account, and then I can paste it. Now, if you are using a Visual Studio or Notepad++, see this particular option, it will help you to minimize this. So your JSON file, it starts with the flower bracket and it closes with that. And if I expand this, I can also go and minimize what are the different sections that I have in this JSON document. See, now I've got a schema, I've got a version, I've got a metadata, parameter, resources, and output. This is what I was talking about here in my Excel file. So these are the different things that are there on your JSON document. So if I want to understand what is resources, I can just go and click expand this. So here what I'm going to create, I'm going to create a storage resource. I'm going to create a storage account. That is the resource type, and I can minimize this. What is the kind of output that I want to see? I want to see what is the storage account name and what is the storage account ID. I want to see these two details. That is the output that I have added here. I can minimize this. What kind of parameters I have specified? I have these many parameters here. See, for example, by default, my parameter is to choose the standard LRS. But if I don't want to choose, my organization want me to have everything default by created as standard ZRS, for example. And I don't want organization resources or engineers to use these options. For example, I can just go and remove whichever I don't want. For example, to reduce the cost, I want to remove all the premium option from here. I can just remove whatever I want, and then I will just give only the standard option, and by default it will go and select standard ZRS, but earlier it was LRS, but now I have changed it. So I can go and modify the default value and all those things. I can just customize it based on my requirement. Okay, now let's go and copy this. I'll just go and expand all of them. Okay, let me copy the complete file now. So what I will do is I will go to the editor and just remove this and then paste the new version. So what I have done now, I have changed certain things. So here I've changed the default option that should be chosen as standard ZRS, and then I've removed all the premium option from the drop down. Now I can just say load this file, or I just save this. And then now if you look at here, by default, the storage account type, the default value is standard ZRS, and then there is no premium option. So if you want to have some templated option, for example, if you want your resources to be created only in East US, you can remove all the other unwanted things. In your organization, there will be template with standard settings. They will allow you to only create it in East US. They will only allow you to select the standard policies as per the standard policies. You can go and change whatever you want. So similarly in the region, if I don't want Canada Central, or if I want to just change it, I can just go and change it. So let me go one step back. So here I can just go and change the content. See, here it is under there. Okay. See, these are the variables I've got. So here also I can go and change it, but you have to change it under the parameter section. So these are the only things that I've got here. Okay, let me check what kind of other options that I've got. Okay, let me just go one step back. So some of you might be interested. I mean, I don't. I mean, I want to understand what are the different other options available. See, what I can do is, let me show you one more interesting thing. If I go and create a particular resource group or a virtual machine, anything that you create. Okay, for example, if I create a resource group for an example, any resource that you create, I'm not sure how many of you seen this option. So I can just go and give it a name, stan-rg-4. So here I'll choose the region, and then on the very last screen, you also have the option to download a template for automation. See, I don't want to create it now. I just want the template. I can just click on this. It will give me the JSON template simply like this. And if I want to create more resources with the same standard, I can just copy this and I can add it to my own library. Okay, so I can just Just for an example, I'll just show you this. JSON resource group create. See, it is very straightforward. It has got schema, it has got version, it has got parameter, and very straightforward. Only this much information: resources, variables, and output. Okay, this is the standard structure. So now if I want to have my own organization template, what I can do is I can add it to library. So if I click on add to library, this will add my template with my standard name. So I can just say stan resource group creation standard, or if you want to create any resource group, I have to follow this template option. So by default it will have east us. If I want to change something here, I can also change something. Okay, so let me put it into G01, and I can give it a file version also here. I can just say this is my latest version 1.0 or 1.1 or whatever, and you can also mention what kind of changes you have made in this template version, and you can store it. Simple as that. So subsequent, you can use your own template in your organization to create resources from this. So again, here also you don't have to memorize, or you don't have to remember anything. You can just go and create a resource, copy that template, and then make some minor modification and do it. Also, you have the GitHub link where you can go and get complete list of templates that are available already. So you can just use these things. So don't spend time in memorizing things, or don't do anything like that. It is very, very easy. Okay, so now let's create at least one resource. Okay, so if I want to create a Windows virtual machine for an example, I can click on that, and from here I can just go and choose the resource group. Even I can go and add default value. So if I want something to be selected by default, what is that I have to add? I have to just add default value. Okay, so here I have to use the switch. Okay, so default value will automatically select that particular option here by default. If I want to have everything selected in stan rg01, I can make it default one. Okay, so that automatically it will get selected like this. So I can give some username and password. Only that much I need to provide. Remaining all it will pick up from my template. It is that easy to create a VM. Even if I want to change some name or whatever, I can also change it. I can create hundreds of VM in one click of a button, in one simple uh, click. I'll show you that template options. Let me just create this. So now it will go and create a virtual machine with whatever details that we have provided. So here, there are a couple of more important things that you need to be aware of. So always when you go and write a particular template, don't overpopulate your uh, parameter section. So if you are overpopulating your parameter section, the script will take a lot of time to run, because like whenever you run a template, or whenever you run this particular declarative format, what it will do is anything that you specify on the parameter, it will run the entire thing, and again it will go and look out for the second one, and then it will run the entire thing. So always limit whatever you are specifying within the parameters. You can use variables or other options in order to specify the parameters or other things. So the very basic principle is limit your parameter. And you can also use switches like this. If you want to create 3 storage account, or if you want to create something in parallel or serial, you can also add it. See here, you can see that I have used copy option. Instead of writing the script 3 times, or instead of writing the template 3 times, you can use the copy switch. So with that, you will be able to create 3 storage account. And to avoid any conflict, you can add a index here. It will create 001, 002, and 003, something like. You can add some indexing numbers here. And also you can mention mode. For example, if I want to create 2 different resources in parallel, I can mention parallel. Or if I want to create resources one by one, for example, I want to create a resource group first, and then I want to create storage account, then I want to create a virtual machine, I can just go with serial mode of creation. So these are the 2 important switches that we generally see in the template. The next one is the condition. Okay, for example, I have to create a storage only when my resource group is already created. I can also add condition properties in my ARM template. So count, mode, and conditions. These are all 3 important other things that you will start seeing in your ARM template. So when you are writing a ARM template, always minimize your use of parameter. Instead, use your variables to define additional parameters and additional properties. That way, your template will create resources very quickly. And use camel cases. You know what is camel case, right? See, for example, these are all three different words: storage, account type. But what we have done to have it is like it is one single word now. So how do we we have separated the words, or how we have differentiated the words? By using uppercase here. For the second and third word, you have used the uppercase here. So instead of having space, you are using the uppercase to differentiate that there are three words in that particular one single string. Okay, so that is what we call it as camel casing. And we always use the camel casing in ARM templates or JSON template, and use the parameter for settings like SKU, capacity, and all. Don't give it in parameter. Always use the use parameters for these important settings. For example, the SKU, the environment, capacity, and all, you have to give it in the parameter itself, because it will get applied to different resources it is creating. So unique information about resources, you provide it under your variable, but if something is common across all the resources, use the parameter section. Okay, so next thing, I think it is all you have to use the tagging, you have to use the description as much as possible to provide meaningful information. For example, this template I am using to create a new storage account and to store the virtual machine disk. So this gives better understanding what is the purpose of the storage account, so that you have a meaningful description. Always have meaningful description. And also these things aren't case sensitive. You can just define values in upper or lower case. That is all fine. So this is how you go and create it. Now I have created a virtual machine using the template. So this is also very easy. Okay, so I have one more detailed session. I'll provide it to you. So if you want to play around with Azure CLI, Azure PowerShell, and Azure template, I'll give you offline access to 1.5 hour recording on each of these areas. Okay, but for now, this is enough to understand the um three different options. I mean, in fact, four different options: Cloudshell, CLI, and PowerShell plus template. Okay, so as an administrator, you need to understand these four options. Okay, these three and this one fourth option. Okay, so that you have some better opportunity to work from CI/CD tools, or if you're planning to become a DevOps engineer, then you need to definitely know the command line option and the templating option. So for a DevOps engineer, these are all prerequisite skills actually. Okay, but as an administrator, you need to be familiar with these three options to automate things, or to create things effectively, or to create things much faster. You need to use the scripting language or the templating language. Okay, any questions from anyone on today's session? I know people, when we go and learn something from the command line, I know we get carried away, but it is very easy to learn. Okay, it's not, I mean, we don't have to even memorize any single word. If you just need to learn, I mean, you need to understand that your Azure command, CLI command starts with AZ, and similarly, your PowerShell has noun hyphen version. You just need to understand there is a very easy thing called get hyphen help. With that, you will be able to manage everything. So here also you can use az-help, so that you will get everything that you want to get started. You can use az interactive option to learn this. Here also, if with PowerShell, I told you, right, you don't have to understand any parameters. If you just go and type the command, it will ask you the next text question, and it will help you to create it. That way you can learn it. And I also given couple of links, exercises. So do it when you are having some free time, and you will be getting a little more comfortable in working on Azure CLI and PowerShell. Okay, so I'll be here for next 2 more minutes. If you have some questions, stay back, or if you're good with and go and have your dinner and have some good rest. We'll discuss patching and update management tomorrow on Azure. Okay, I'll stop the recording.